Does that include little Noah? Little 5-year-old Noah, who's barely out of the toddler stage. Okay. Little Noah is one step closer to becoming a man. Okay, so like a 6-year-old man, a 7-year-old man, how close is he to becoming a man? Okay, and I'm like, when does having a box blade or a weapon make a person a man? Okay, coach, isn't that what got you into trouble in the first place? Somehow feeling that, okay, if you carried a weapon, if you carried a firearm, somehow that made you more of a man. Isn't that what got you into trouble, coach? And so you're trying to convince these boys, you're trying to teach them at such an early age, such a tender age of development. You're trying to teach them that carrying a weapon is what makes you a man. I'm like, okay, coach. Okay, coach. Now, we do understand that when you were in prison, you had to carry some type of weapon, okay, in order to defend yourself. We know that you had to do that, coach. We know that from time to time you had to exhibit violence when you were behind the bars. We already know that, coach. It's a matter of survival when you're in there. We understand that, coach. But these boys are not in prison. Well, not if you don't include being locked behind the farm gates. Okay, they're not truly in prison. Okay, although they might be in prison, they are not in prison. They're not in prison as far as the traditional meaning of the term. And so I'm like, okay, coach, so you're telling us that if they get these box blades, they're closer to being men. And I'm like, okay, coach, what happened? Were they sold out on shanks? Okay. When you went to the Home Depot to pick up these box blade holders, were the shanks sold out, coach? Okay. Because I'm sure you prefer for them to have shanks. Okay. Just like you did when you were behind bars, coach. And I'm like, okay, when you had that shank or had those shanks behind bars, coach, you were trying to defend yourself for the most part. These boys don't have to defend themselves against anything, coach. Okay, so why in the world would they need a weapon? Okay, why in the world would these boys be indoctrinated to violence at such an early age, coach? All right, we did notice how even Timothy Jr. struggled with his box blade after he supposedly earned the blade. The blade, which you had to be careful when you offered it to him, you had to be careful in your handling of that blade because you as an adult, you know how dangerous those blades are. You had to be so careful when you were handing it over to him. And then so when Junior exhibited it or used it for the first time that we saw, he struggled with it. Okay, he struggled to open up the holder. He struggled to apply the blade. You had to kind of coach him. And I'm like, if you have to coach somebody through using a weapon, if you have to coach somebody through using a sharp implement, a dangerous, a destructive, a highly destructive instrument, highly destructive.